Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend D.G. Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes, or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
Hi, this is Devin Grayson, and you are listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Diggity dank.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Nightwing News. I guess you could call this our Halloween episode. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, it is.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
That's right, because this time, yes, we're going to get a tale of horror and the supernatural as we cover all of DC vs. Vampires, in which Mr. Dick Grayson plays a huge role. We'll get to it. There is one premise in here I'm just like, I don't know about this. Alright, but this is a newer story. I mean, this came out last year, so it started last year.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think issue 1 was only like a year or so ago. So alright. This is the first, I mean, doing the reread, this is the first time I've read it through complete, like almost all at once. Yeah. Before I was just reading it issue to issue, so.
Well, wait, hold up. First, I want to ask you, so you said you saw it too. Are you gonna upgrade your wedding ring to a Nightwing wedding ring, Phil?
Maybe one day. I mean, what is it? It's almost $400. That's not a spur of it. Oh yeah, I'll just pick up this. Yeah, no, maybe.
Well, what I find interesting is that they're billing it as a wedding ring. I mean, I guess since men otherwise don't wear a lot of rings, although sometimes men, I guess maybe it's more the signet ring or a class ring or something, but it does seem a little funny to me that it's like, get your wedding ring in this superhero. You're like, I'm not marrying Nightwing.
Unless you're just given, the gift of, your significant other's favorite character. Because, I mean, it looks like there are a bunch of DC ones, so.
Yeah, there are. And I'm sure they have Marvel and stuff. It's just funny to me that they're like, oh, we made these rings for guys, and they must only wear rings if they're married or something. I don't know. Because I think they're the ones that make a dinosaur bone ring as well.
It's like, yo, honey, do you want to get married? I don't know. You can have a superhero ring. Oh, cool!
Oh, well, then definitely. Why didn't you tell me that before?
What a lifetime of commitment for a superhero ring? Yeah, sure, man.
If Phil had that option, he would have been married years before.
Exactly. Does it come with a comic book? Yeah.
I want to know if those rings exist in the DC universe, because I hope if they do, if Dick and Babs ever get married, they exchange rings, and she gets a Nightwing ring, and he gets a Batgirl ring.
Oh, there you go. And Bruce has a tracking device in both.
Indeed.
I was going to say, you're probably not going to get that ring. I was going to say, you might be able to find a kangaroo ring, because I did find Danielle a turtle ring, because Luca loves turtles, so.
I mean, I already have a kangaroo ring.
Oh, I should have known.
Yeah. It's kind of cool, though, because it opens up. It's one of those, like, the kangaroo's body pops open, yeah. It says it's called a poison ring, so if I'm ever wearing it, Phil, something's about to go down.
Oh, jeez. All right, so should we jump into this? Because, there's a lot here. Because, again, the regular series was 12 issues, and then there was, like, at least two one-shots. And
yes, I have to admit that when I reread it, I skipped a lot of it. I really only read, like...
Yeah. Because there's a few issues there. It's, like, little to no Dick, after the big reveal. It's just like, he's locked in his little tower there, yeah.
Well, and even I mean, he's not in issue 1 at all. And then issue 2 focuses on the Bat family, but then he's not in a ton. I don't know. I guess so. I told you before, after I read it, somebody made an odd comment on Facebook that they thought the identity of the king had been changed partway through. And I was like, oh, really? So I Googled it, and I don't think that's the case. And I found some Reddit where some people were like, who do you think it is? And several people said they thought it was Dix. And I was like, oh, well, good job on those people. But of course, I was not reading it all the way through. Before it was revealed that Dick was the Vampire King, I only read issue number 2 because you told me, oh, the Bat family's in issue number 2. You might want to read it. So I read it, and then I didn't read any until 6. So when it was revealed what were your thoughts? Because you were reading it as it happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of caught me by surprise. But going back in hindsight now and rereading it all at once, it kind of stands out now. Again, maybe I'm just like, hindsight. I'm just like, oh yeah, of course. But I mean, rereading it, I mean, the issues leading up to it when we see Dick, doesn't it seem now where it's like, yeah, something seems off with Dick, like where he's not really helping. It's more like, when we see him, it's mostly showing up to Barbara, and it's like, oh, hey, what you doing? And it's just, he's really not, he'd be more gung-ho about helping out, and it's more like he's just hanging around and be like, oh, so, did you discover anything? Yeah. I thought he seemed pretty in character in issue number 2. Yeah.
In the sense that, that he's like, Lex Luthor told him your identity, and he's like, what? That assists me. And then when he's like, oh wait, you want us to kill now? But of course, in the background. But I guess, yeah, looking back, yeah, the big one I think is when Barbara finds that pile of dirt. And is all kind of explaining it to him. And I do remember when I went back and read it, I was like the first time I was reading it afterwards, I was like, why are they trying to make Dick sound stupid? But because like sometimes they do that in the comics, and then I realized, oh yeah, he's like not stupid. He's just like acting like he doesn't know what's going on to see how much Barbara knows.
Yeah.
But one thing that I thought was interesting is the reason that the main person that started the thread that I saw on Reddit that was like, oh, it's Dick, isn't it? Is because they were like, Dick's been in it a lot. And I thought that was interesting because I kind of went through and read a little bit of DC or Deceased or however. And like the bats are like gone and deceased almost immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, the end of the first issue, Tim and Dick get zombified and Bruce kills him at the beginning of the second one, and then spoiler alert, Alfred shotguns Bruce at the end of the second one, and like that's it. Damien's the only one left. So I guess that in retrospect that was kind of a big giveaway. I mean, a part of me wanted it to just be like, oh, they're finally recognizing that Dick is a big name, kind of thing. But then it was like, oh yeah.
And I think they were going for the shock value too, because Dick's usually, the nice guy. He's everybody's friend and stuff. So it's saddle because like even Green Arrow says in the one issue, he's like, I thought to the Batman, I thought you were a vampire. You got to admit, you only go out at night. You live in a cave. Mm-hmm. You love your secrets. But yeah, I think that's what that was the other. I mean, everyone was expecting it was either going to be Batman or Superman or somebody, like that. And again, it completely sides. That's the other thing in issue 2. I mean, he takes the test with everyone else. The crucifix, the holy water, and everything. So of course, then everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, it can't be him." But there's ways around that,
right?
Which that was kind of dark. Starfire's blood.
Yeah, and they don't really talk much more about her. I mean, is she?
I think she showed not in the main series so much. I think it was All Out War.
Oh, okay.
Where, yeah. They kind of showed a little, not a ton, but a little more of her in All Out War. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was kind of like this side thing there, but
that makes sense. Well, I don't know how you want to do it. I would say
I mean, if you just want to jump
You
around,
know, a lot
that's
of
fine.
the vampire stuff I had heard of, I didn't know that this holding the cross. I thought it was more like
Oh, yeah.
seeing it or what. I mean, there's lots of vampire lore and it's not consistent.
I mean, I don't know if they can like handle the maybe if they I think I don't know they just feel pain when they see it. I mean, isn't most lore if they hold the crucifix it like burns them, so that's the big if they actually make contact with it.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I know it's been a while since I read Dracula. I know that when they use the Eucharist on one of the vampires, and that burns into her.
Yeah, anything blessed or like an object, religion. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Was it God? It might have been like an X-Men issue. Was it? There was some version. It might have been. I think it was the Marvel version, but they were like the crucifix only worked if the person holding it like believed in Christianity and it's
sure.
It's like you kind of had to believe in it. Yeah. I love when Alfred's like, "Oh, thank you. I'm glad you have caught. You believe me, and you didn't make me take the test." And Bruce is like, "Yeah. Well, you would have burned what, because I had the our hot water tank blessed last night."
Yeah.
But yeah, issue 6. I mean, that's not in a good way. That's a big one for the Bat family during the big reveal.
Right. Yes.
So, do you think was Dick just needed to get rid of Bruce, killing him, or do you think I don't know? He said, "Oh, he told Damien and them. He's like, he's gonna, he would have killed me no matter what." Do you think was Dick honestly that afraid of Bruce, or? I mean, I could almost see Bruce being like, "Yeah, well, you were my son. I'm not going to let you, exist like this now."
Yeah, I mean, I think it was partially. I mean, I think the main reason they did it, of course, is for the shock value.
Oh, definitely that splash page. Yeah.
Batman,
but
my favorite character.
Well, and I also think it was good because it allowed them to do something different. Because of course, if Batman were still alive, then he, just like in Injustice, if he's around, then he becomes the main opposition figure, and everything revolves around him. Yeah. So if you want to do something without involving Batman, you have to get him out of the way. So I thought it made it more interesting that he was taken out. I mean, I think it showed like, wow, Dick has really, he's really changed. It's really changed him being a vampire, and then of course it gave other characters room to shine.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, a lot of people's favorites taking hits here. Yeah, Will's favorite, Hal Jordan, man, he gets dusted pretty early on.
Yeah, but he had a big role before that.
Oh yeah, and especially like the first issue. Yeah, that was the first big reveal was Hal. Yeah, because he could use the ring to block out the UV light and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Hal had a.
I always find it weird, and again, like different versions of the story. They've tried it a few times. Depends who's writing it, but it's like making Superman a vampire. I know Batman like hit him with kryptonite beforehand, but it's like. Yeah, I mean, the vampires are supernatural. You can't break Superman's skin, but every cell in his body is saturated with solar radiation. I'm like, I don't know. At least not before you kill it. The vampire who did it died. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and again, it's like if you're gonna have like one of the big superheroes become like king of the vampires. I mean, that's a big thing for Dick because it's like. Because he even says, I think, was it when Barbara talks about killing him? He's like, yeah, you can kill me. He's like, Clark will take over, or Wonder Woman will take over. Just so he was king over all of them. Yeah, Superman, Wonder Woman, all of them. Still kept that charisma.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, it's probably because that's the character of the guy. My favorites out of the whole thing were the black and white ones that I just read recently that explained how he became a vampire.
Oh, yeah.
I liked that the best because, there were, I get that I get that you're evil, so being a vampire would change you, obviously. But some of the stuff felt slightly weird. Like when he says to Tim, he's like, you should have been looking at your other family about Starfire.
Yeah, the Titans.
I'm like, I kind of get it, but Starfire is more your family. I mean, that was like a minor thing, but that felt slightly off.
Yeah, you know what? All they had to do was change it. He should have been like, yeah, you should have looked to our other family.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and then when he says to Tim, your dear Starfire, like, I didn't think Tim cared that much about Starfire.
No, I mean, they were on, like, a Titans team together, like, the early 2000s, but I'm like, yeah, nowhere near, Right,
I mean, if it had been, like, your dear Connor, or your dear Cassie, or something like that, yes! But yeah, it feels more like the words he's saying, you should have been looking to your other family, your dear Starfire, those feel like something that somebody should have been saying to Dick.
Exactly, yeah. And you know what else is weird? I mean, maybe there might be an explanation, but it's like when, he changes Damian. Damian gets made a vampire, but Damian can kind of fight it because he's still helping them, like, battle the vampires and stuff. And I'm like, if anyone could, like, retain their, like, goodness through this thing, wouldn't it be Dick?
Yeah, that was the thing that seemed the weirdest in that.
Because it's one thing to be a vampire, but then he's like killing, shoving his hand through Bruce and stuff, and it's just like, I just wonder if they were just like, well, Damian has fought against darkness within him his whole life, so he had more experience battling darkness within him and stuff. If that's their explanation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the thing that seemed the weirdest to me was, I mean, on the one hand, I get, I mean, it's one of those things that I can't see it going either way. Yeah. Damian is becoming closer with Bruce, and he's always like, that's my father. But on the other hand, he has really connected with Dick, so I could have seen him being like, yeah, I'm gonna follow you, sort of thing. The thing that was weirdest to me, and again, I mean, I guess it works because Damian was taken care of by Alfred. But yeah, the thing where he says he has something me and mine lack, compassion. Maybe he's different because when he turned, he had you and I had no one.
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah, but it's like
it's like, okay, I guess.
If anyone had a lot of people, it was Dick Grayson. I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah. So that seemed.
I mean, if anyone could.
Well, maybe it had to do with who he was turned by as well.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
But I suppose since he was betrayed, but then they were like, he kind of. I mean, you'll have to let me know what you think. It almost seemed like he accidentally killed her.
It could be.
That since you don't really have to work up through the ranks in the vampire world, apparently, if you kill the ruler, boom, you immediately become the ruler. I mean, which is like kind of a form of conquest. Because it's like Dick just stands there and is like, okay, Alfred, you can do it. And then Alfred doesn't, so it's kind of like it's kind of like he knows, but yeah, he also seems to have some compassion left. I guess it's one of those things that because it's an Elseworld story, if you just kind of think whatever, I'll go with it. You can go with it. It makes sense. But if you want to be nitpicky, annoying nerds like us, I feel like there's things that you can like. I quibble with that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you have to hand wave some of it just because they wanted to go with the premise. Oh, look how cool this is. Nightwing is the king of the vampires.
Right. Because then Damian gets all messed up, but then he pops back in, looking okay. And I was kind of like, oh.
Well, yeah, I think vampire healing or whatever.
I guess. But yes, I think that was probably why Nightwing in Dark Birth, probably why I liked those the best, because I did think it was a good explanation for why Dick became the Vampire King, and that felt the most in character and very true. Because, he absolutely would go to help Melinda, or, I mean, really anyone. So, that made sense. And plus, it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
how she hears a slurp. She's like, "Oh, you're not alone." He's like, "I'm with a beautiful creature, big eyes, glossy hair." It's the dog. And that picture when he sits up and look out. You can't really see him, but how there's a little picture of Haley and she's like, they put like little stars around her eyes. So cute. Puppies.
I know, that's just all the sadder.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, not to jump all the way to the end, but just the way it ends, I thought they were going to do a sequel, but I haven't heard anything about a sequel with the new ruler.
Yeah. Yeah, how he's thinking who will feed Haley.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, then how he can't kill his sister. I mean, that's why it felt so, how it was like, I can't kill you. And then, yeah, after they bite him, he kind of like comes up and puts it through. So I think he was like trying to kill her before she bit him. Mm-hmm. He was like, I was too late. I did think it was kind of interesting how, in one of the later ones, they have, because that's another thing that's in some of the vampire lore, that they can come into your dreams. So they have this, like, Dick and Barbara have a sexy dream, which does foreshadow the end. Which, yeah, that was the one thing where she said, Dick has one weakness. He is too proud to have his food served to him from the blood farms. He wants to be the purest vampire. That felt weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, them saying, like, Dick has one weakness.
Farm fresh.
He still likes his friends or whatever. That would have made more sense to me than he wants his blood still from people. Like, that doesn't really, like, worrying about purity that sounds like a Damien thing. Like, Dick has never been concerned about purity.
Exactly.
And plus, like, why would he care about being the purest vampire? He didn't even want to become one.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, I forgot, too, in All Out War, the first, in the backup in issue 1, it's, when Barbara finds out her father's a vampire, and she's the one who has to kill her own father.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
So that's another thing that she wasn't too happy about with Dick. Yeah,
although did Dick change her dad personally, or is it just like she's just sort of blaming him in general?
I think in general, because I don't know if they actually show it, but I'm sure maybe I don't think he did it, but he might have given the word.
Mm-hmm. So yes, about the ending. I mean, he did make some interesting points about, like, we're beating people up and stuff. We're choosing moral lines, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, then I did really like the ending. I thought that was a good, because it was like a good gut punch ending. Because it's kind of like in horror movies where they don't always end on an uplifting note, but instead you succumb to the horror. And so I thought that was cool how Barbara has changed. Now, what do you think? Do you think that was her plan all along, or that she wanted to? Because, I mean, I guess it's been over a year, but spoiler alert, anyone listening, what happens is Barbara lets Dick turn her, and then she has Dick feed off of Harley, why is Harley's blood poisoned? Did she give her something, or is that like a unique Harley Quinn thing?
I'm trying to remember. I think she might have injected Lex's blood into her, because remember, Lex was given his blood. I think he had something in it that it was like killing the vampire. So yeah, so
that's right.
So I mean, I'm trying to remember if they were just to put his blood in Harley just to transport it, or I mean, it might have been part of Barbara's plan, or at least, oh hey, if things go bad, let's do this.
Right. I mean, I think part of Barbara's plan was always to have him bite Harley and die through poisoning, because that's a good sneaky plan.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty fascinating how she had him turn her first, and then she had him eat from from Harley. So in the end, Barbara is now queen of the vampires.
Yes.
It's not a happy ending. It's a sad ending.
I think she did that to settle everybody down, because it's like he even says, he's like, if he dies and I guess if she's not a vampire, then someone else is just going to take over, like Wonder Woman or something. So Barbara had to have him turn her so she could become, take his place.
Right, as she said, but now I want so much more, so that's her.
Because that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, yeah, she might settle things down a little bit, but I'm like, is she going to be any less evil than Dick was? Because I'm just like, if Dick couldn't fight it, I mean, is Barbara going to be able to fight it? And if so, it's like, okay, so now Damien and Barbara can fight it, but Dick couldn't? I'm like, okay.
No, I don't think she's fighting at all. I think that's why it's the gut punch. Because she says, as I lead the vampire race, there's nobody left to challenge my authority.
Yeah.
She says, the war is over. I was the last casualty. When I died, so did the last thing humanity had left to cling to, hope. I mean, I think it's supposed to be like, oh, snap.
Yeah.
This ending that, like, wow.
Oh, so is it, you think you think things were bad under Dick? Well, wait till you see what Barbara's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, she says the last thing humanity had left to cling to, hope. I mean, so, like, the war is over. I think that means, like, I mean, why would she become a vampire to let humanity win? Because then she would die. And she says, there's nobody left to challenge my authority.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why I think it was such a good ending, because it's a bleak ending instead of... And so it subverted I think this one did a very good job of subverting your expectations, because even though they, like, seeds of it along the way, there's... Also, you were also like, whoa, wow, it was Nightwing? Didn't expect that since he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And I think there's seeds along the way. That it's a little bit unexpected, but also you can expect it, because the Bat family is always fighting against the darkness. So you can't see that you could see any of the bats going either way. And, Barbara is very strategic. And, I mean, some of the stuff she does as Oracle, I mean, it's cool, but, like, it's also shady. I mean, doesn't she, like, go in and, I mean, yeah, she's stealing money from the villains, but doesn't she, like, hack in and take Blockbuster's money at some point and do things like that?
I mean, yeah, vigilante justice. I mean, nothing they're doing is legal, pretty much, yeah.
Right, so... you can see it.
Yeah, and again, I think
I
think they just wanted a good twist with, like, Dick, and then eventually Barbara. Because again, if it would have been Bruce, everyone would have been like, "Oh, we're doing this again." Okay, no, I saw that coming.
Right, exactly, and so I think that's why it's good, because you get a twist, like, at the halfway point, and then again at the end.
Yeah,
because you think, oh, Barbara's going to. She's saying Dick's weakness is purity, but, like, no, the Barbara is definitely Dick's weakness. Yeah. You think she's going to go in and kill him and he'll kind of let her because he loves her. But then you're like, oh, whoa, she lets him make her a vampire. Now they're going to be vampire king and queen. Whoa. And then she turns it and is like, haha, just kidding. I'm going to kill you so that I'm the undisputed. You're like, oh, damn. That was dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some dark, devious girl power. And so part of me was like, yeah. But the other part of me was like, whoa.
And then in issue 6, when then Jason's like, I need fall eventually,
That's very Jason.
I know. I'm surprised Jason, he just didn't turn Jason. It was just like, yeah, you're dead.
Well, he wanted to, but...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I could see that with any of the bats, actually, them having, instead of like being acting like they were the hope for humanity, but then twisting it. But I think them having to be Dick and Barbara, it's a bit subverts expectations both times, but at the same time, since they're bats, and we know part of what makes the bats interesting is none of the other maybe Damien. Generally, none of the other bats are as dark as Batman, but of course, none of them are as light as Superman. So it's like Dick is much lighter than Bruce, but he's not like woo,
Yeah.
Well, there's still some tough stuff in there. He's still a bat. So
Well, I think,
It fits.
yeah. And again, too, it's like you do Dick and then eventually Barbara. Everyone's just like, oh, if these two can fall, it could be anyone. Anyone else could become a vampire too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, Harley looks really sad. Although, I mean, maybe is that supposed to be Supergirl in the last one? Because they're gonna have to. Because they did have some success.
Why no? They were trying to get Supergirl in the orbit because yes, the vampires had blocked out the sun. So if they could get her in the orbit, she would power back up. Yeah.
Right. But how on that last page you see Damien creeping up as he sees everybody's bowing. It's like he knows this didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
it's good. Yeah. On the one hand, I of course wish his Dick hadn't been evil, but on the other hand, it was nice to see him get a lot of screen time, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, there were still like traces of Dick Grayson, even too, because in his own twisted way, like when he offered Alfred, he's like, let me make you immortal,
mm-hmm.
and
yeah,
he's just like respectfully go to hell,
right. Yeah, like I said, it really just felt like tiny things that I was like, if you would have tweaked this dialogue a little bit, that would have made more sense. And I don't know, if he had not said, like, Damien has compassion and I lack, that seemed weird because Dick is famous for being one of the most compassionate.
Yeah. See, I mean,
but him saying like, "Oh, he's had you," maybe that Alfred, maybe that does make a difference. Like that kind of makes sense.
I mean, if they would have written him maybe more delusional, where he's like, no, I'm saving humanity. Nobody has to die now. And if they had done that thing with the food the opposite way, if they were like, oh yeah, Dick's only eating animals, maybe just something like that. Because what you think about that argument when Barbara's like, no, this is wrong. You're eating people, and he's like, yeah, well, you're eating innocent animals.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm only eating bad people. You're eating, chickens who never did anything to anybody, cows, trying to justify it.
Mm-hmm. But to me, what made it, for me, I think the ending and how it's like, to me, that's a very bleak ending of like, wah, wah, they failed, and this prospect of power has turned, it turned Dick, and it turned even Barbara. I thought that made it much more powerful and interesting than if she had just killed Dick and it was like, and now we unblock the sun and all the vampires sizzled, huzzah, nothing is, woo, we won.
Yeah, I know. Again,
the fact that it has a dark ending, I think makes it makes it more unexpected, and because it's kind of like, oh, the superheroes lost.
Yeah, again, these type of stories, and especially like Elseworlds type stories, and like even on Marvel side, the What If, it's usually things either go way wrong like this, or a bunch of people die, or both. Yeah, so
kind of like how, although it's Marvel, but how Infinity War was so impactful because it subverted. I mean, the superheroes always win, and then they didn't, and you were like, whoa,
yeah.
Like even though you knew it was coming, you were still like, whoa.
Yeah, because even that had impact.
And in this one, you didn't know it was coming.
Yeah. That one is interesting, too, when they were, like, shipping the aliens off Earth, because I guess, Dick made a deal with, like, some of the other alien races where it's like, we'll ship your citizens back, but you don't come near Earth, and I guess a lot of the plans went for that. Mm-hmm. Although Earth is, well, especially in this story, Earth's a ghetto, man. They just lock their doors and drive past.
I mean, I feel like in our world, aliens would be smart to do that as well.
Oh, yeah. All right.
No, wait, so what were you said there was something that you...
the whole, I mentioned already, the thing where it's like, Damien could kind of overcome his vampirism, but Dick couldn't, But like I said, I don't know if they were just trying to say, Damien's always fought against, darkness within him. I don't know, maybe that was the whole thing where it's like, oh no, Dick's always been this happy-go-lucky person, so it's like the darkness hit him harder. I don't know.
Maybe since Damien's a child, he's still malleable.
Only in body. He's a child.
But like, yes, and like I said, the that's also why I liked the background story as to how we got turned, because that I thought was very consistent with how Dick would behave.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was very good.
All right. So, anything else on these?
I think that does it.
But yeah, kids. I mean, if you haven't read this, go read it. It's good. And again, there's other stuff in here besides Dick Grayson. I mean, of course, we're focusing on Nightwing because this is Nightwing news. But yeah, there's stuff with Green Arrow and a lot of your DC favorites. Yeah, there's Harley stuff and.
I mean, pretty much most everybody's in it.
Yeah. Although the Flash gets taken out pretty quick, because like Hal's like, yeah, we discussed it. Yeah, your metabolism might shake it off or whatever, or if you do become a vampire, the king said you might just like drain the planet dry. No. So, yeah,
there's that. I do remember I was looking for something else. Because I teach this class about witchcraft, so sometimes stuff comes up about vampires, and there was some sort of scientist that a while back did some calculations, and this scientist said there's no way. I mean, they're like, there's no way vampires could be real, because if they were, and assuming they got started in like 1800, I mean, not even that long ago, and a vampire needs to feed on a human, and a bite means you become a vampire, they're like, we'd all be vampires by this point in time. Like, it would happen really fast.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would be exponential growth. So, yeah. I thought that was funny. And yeah, I did kind of think about that scientist when they were talking about it with Flash. I was like, oh, yeah, that's what science says.
Well, yeah, and it's not like the Middle Ages. I mean, just the way people travel now.
Yeah, there were way fewer people in the Middle Ages. We all would have been vampires much faster in the Middle Ages.
That's true. But we can reach all corners of the earth quicker now, though.
It's true, yes.
All right. So anything else? Oh, look, she's drinking.
Water.
I know.
I'm good.
All right, kids. So yes, we recorded this out of order. So yeah, last week on the podcast, you should have heard our reviews of the October issues. So next month there'll be 5 weeks, so we'll get 3 episodes of Electric Mullet. Then we'll be back to cover the new Nightwing issue and all the other new issues for November. And then the second episode in November, we'll do Nightwing 56 through 58. That'll be that Shrike story that we kind of started last month. So. Then get more Electric Mullet. Then December, you'll get the reviews of those new issues. And then the last episode of the year, we'll cover Legends of the DC Universe number 6 and DC Comics Presents 31 and 58. Those are all Dick Grayson Robin teaming up with Superman. So a little more cheerful for the holidays. Yes. All right. So send us your thoughts on all of those. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find all things Capes and Lunatics, episodes, social media, merchandise, links to our Patreon. Please help us subscribe. Help us support this craziness. All right, so find everything all in one place. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. Listen to the other shows. A lot of the other shows, we're doing some Halloween stuff, so stay tuned. All right, and now, most importantly, go on Amazon. Hey, you want to be the coolest person on the block and give away the best. You want to be the person who puts the best thing in those trick-or-treaters bags. Go on Amazon and buy yourself a bunch of Dick Grayson Boy Wonder. Buy it now on Amazon. That's right. What's more nourishing than candy? Knowledge. Dick Grayson Boy Wonder.
Perhaps it's even more nourishing than blood.
That's right. Oh, that's right. It's not anything, and it's not even this boring schoolwork, kids. No, it's Dick Grayson Boy Wonder. But don't worry, kids. It was written by an educator, so. All right, so find that on Amazon. Please go do that. So Kristen doesn't have to resort to drinking blood. Yes, go pick up Dick Grayson Boy Wonder on Amazon. All right. Thank you for joining us again. We'll get back to our more familiar Dick Grayson next time. New issue reviews next time, and then Nightwing 56 through 58. Our heroic Dick Grayson will be back. Oh, next year maybe they want to do Blackest Night Batman. That's when Dick was Batman. Zombies.
Yes.
But yeah, kids, if you haven't read DC vs. Vampires, go check it out. I told you, Ray, you'll love that one page if nothing else.
I think he's already seen it.
Oh yeah, well, I showed him that many times. All right, kids, come back next time. Join us, same wing time.
Same wing channel.
Nightwing News.